you know, in Germany. What was it? What was your childhood like?
Very happy. I used to have boyfriends, and they used to come in on their bicycles and fetch me. And I remember one night my parents were out, and I went outside, and I remember them saying, "Oh, they're coming," and how I rushed back into bed.
Did you get on well with your brother and sister?
I got on quite well with my sister, but I didn't get on so well with my brother. Well, I suppose I was nasty and jealous.
Really?
I suppose I must have been.
Well, you were the middle one, weren't you?
What?
You were the middle one.
That's right, I was the middle one. That's right, that was bad. It wasn't a good idea. Very nice house and lots of friends in Hildesheim near Hanover.
And was that the house where your father lived before?
No, that is the house we moved in, I think, when I was about 2.
So I can see that.
What we lived in
Yeah.
before, I haven't got
I
a...
don't remember.
No.
So they bought it together, your parents?
That's right, yes. 3 children.
What was your sister and brother called?
My
Yes.
sister was called Ulla,
And your brother?
Wilhelm.
And your mother and father?
My mother was called Hela, and my father was called Max. I think my father was born in 1870 something, and my mother in 1888. That was our bedroom when we,
What, yours and Ulla's?
Ulla and me.
Which was your bed?
Yes, that was already when the house was converted into 2 flats.
Was it?
Under the Nazis had to be done.
Why was that?
Because they wouldn't allow anybody to have a big house, not Jews.
Right.
Did you go to the Jewish school?
Yes, only for about 3 or 4 years before I went to the high school.
And do you remember anything of the Jewish school?
Not really,
And do you remember anything of your high school?
very little. I only remember really my math teacher. He was very nice, but all the rest were nasty anti-Semites.
But Hitler only came in really in 1933.
That's right.
So for the first 6 years,
Was already anti-Semitic.
anti-Semitic.
Yes.
Did you come out of school because of Hitler being there?
That's right.
You couldn't continue?
I couldn't continue. That's right.
Did they forbid you to continue? Did you
No.
have to leave?
They all had to leave.
All the Jewish children had to leave.
Yes, yes.
How was that?
Because I was thrown out of school, and my parents didn't know what to do with me. And there was a cousin, and she was always very worldly, and she suggested that I should go to London.
And when did your parents decide to go to Brazil?
My father was taken into concentration camp.
There wasn't concentration camps in 1938.
Well, something like it, whatever
Internally.
it
It
was,
was
they
yes.
took him away.
Yes. And so how did they didn't, but he was free. He came out.
No, they freed him because he was already over 60
Ah.
at the end of the Kristallnacht episode. They freed him. They only let him out because he promised to leave the country.
And what about your mother? Where was she?
My mother was all on her own.
And so how long was he how long was he interned for?
About 6 weeks.
Okay.
But your mother was, but she was with your brother and sister still.
No, she was all alone in Hildesheim.
And where were your brother and sister?
My brother was already in, he went in 36 to Brazil,
Yes.
and Ulla was in Geneva.
Where did they live? Which town?
My parents were in Rio, and the rest of the family were in Sao Paulo.
So they left you in London. Or did you not want to join them because you were having
Yes,
such
I
a good
wanted
time?
I wanted to join them, but I didn't in the end
Why was that?
because of Dad.
Ah.
I planned at the time that if I got the visa, I would go,
Yes.
but I didn't in the end. And then the war broke out in 1939, so of course I was stuck.
But when you came to London, who did you stay with?
Oh no, I stayed in a boarding house
Right.
in Frognall and Hampstead.
And did you go to Secretarial College?
Yes, I did.
That's right.
The Polytechnic in Regent Street. I had lots of boyfriends, and they used to take me out at night, every night. Every night I was out.
Where did you go? Where did they take you?
Restaurants, cinema. It depended on the boyfriend whether he had any money or not.
And how long after that did you meet Father?
Oh, I met him right at the beginning. I became friendly with some German boys, and they took me on a hiking tour on a Sunday. And Dad was waiting outside. He was going to. They all went to the LSE together, and he was going to go with them. And he was waiting for his girlfriend at Victoria Station. And the girlfriend didn't turn up. So he joined us,
Yeah.
and we've been friends ever since.
Who joined you? Father did.
Yes.
Where did you actually get married?
Where? In a registry office in Marylebone High Street. No, not High Street. Marylebone Road.
Right.
And on the Sunday, we got married in the Warm Lane Synagogue.
Ah.
And one person came and played the guitar.
Really?
Yes, it was so nice. It was so wonderful. February 1940. That's right. That's when this was.
And what was it like being a German in the war against Germany?
It was very, very difficult. It was quite difficult. Every German was called to the tribunal. We were interviewed by a committee from the government.
Right.
I was living at the time with the Hyamsons. That is my friend Vivi's parents.
Right.
And Mr. Hyamson was a very high civil servant. He was representative of England in Palestine. And he took me to this interview.
Ah.
And he explained who I was and where I came from. And they just gave me permission to stay. It was, as far as I was lucky. I had Dad, and he didn't have to go to the war, so he used to go to the office. And I stayed at, yes, part of the time I was working.
And who were you working for? What were they quite important in the bank or?
He owned the bank.
Yes,
Oh,
they
you
were.
owned the
They
bank.
were the banker and his partner.
Okay, so they owned the bank. And how many people?
It was a private bank. It wasn't an open bank
No.
like Barclays.
No, okay. And did you keep in touch with anybody still in Germany at all?
Never. That boy Rudi,
Yes.
he died immediately after the concentration camp.
Which concentration camp did he go to?
I suppose he must have been in Bergen-Belsen because he was with Hansje. That was this Uncle Paul. This one. He was living in Berlin, and the Nazis. This one. And the Nazis came, took all the Jews away, and when they came, knocked on his door, he knew it was them, and so
Yes.
he killed himself. That's right. That's right.
When was that?
That must have been 1938,
Okay.
after the Kristallnacht.
That's very sad.
Yes. He was the only bachelor. All the other brothers were married, and he was attached to my mother, and he used to come and stay with us a lot.
Yes.
Oh, this one perished. He didn't get away. He didn't get away. This one, Uncle Hugo. Oh no, sorry. This one. This one, Uncle Hugo. He didn't get away, and he stayed in Arnsberg, and he and his wife went to live in Bremen or Hamburg while they were nasty to the Jews in Arnsberg.
Yes.
They went there, and they were afterwards. The Nazis came and killed them both.
Really?
Yes,
In the town?
but took them away anyway.
Oh,
Yes,
yes. So some of your family did get
yes,
caught up in...
that's
yeah.
right. Some did.
Amazing. And it was, how big was the Goldberg family?
Very big. That you could see that picture.
Let's see. And what was the occasion of this picture?
My grandparents' golden wedding anniversary.
And do you know who all the children are who are sitting here with
yes,
you?
I know. They're all my cousins.
Tell us who they all are. Mummy.
That's right. That was Hans Goldberg
Yes.
from Amsterdam. That was Günther Goldberg, who lived in Brazil. That was my brother, who died in Brazil. That was me.
And how old were you there?
I think I must have been, in 1921, I must have been 4. And this is Werner, he lived in New York. And that's Helmut, who was in São Paulo. And Rudi, he died in a camp. At the end of the war.
Do you know what your grandparents did? What work they did?
They ran a store selling clothes
In Hildesheim.
in Arnsberg in
Arnsberg.
Westphalia.
But that's your mother's family.
And on your dad's side, what did
I
they do?
never met them because he was the youngest of a very large family, and he lived away from home, so I never met any of his family.
But what did your father do?
My father was a banker,
And do you remember the name of the bank?
Hessen Company,
So he owned the bank? He owned the bank?
together with his brother.
Oh, with his brother?
Yes, Hermann, Uncle Hermann.
And they had to sell the bank, didn't they, when Hitler came to power?
No, they were just driven out. They never got any money for it.
Didn't they?
No,
They just weren't allowed to have it anymore.
that's right.
So it was taken over.
Yes,
Basically.
yes.
Did you hear the bombs dropping in London when they started?
Yes, yes.
When the war started, the bombing.
That's right. No, we went to somewhere in Wales. In Wales, Granny had gone there to stay with a friend who was living there, and because the bombs were dropping,
Yes.
so she took us as well. No,
44.
Helen was born in Southport,
In
so
1942.
must have been 1942. That's
Yes.
right. For 1 year we lived there.
And then when you came back from Southport, you lived in Finchley Road, didn't you?
That's right, in Hillside Court.
Hillside Court.
Yes, we had that flat before we went away. Before we went to
Yes.
Southport, we had that flat, and we let it to a Jewish lady. And I was so worried about my pots and pans and things like that. And when I came back, she hadn't touched any of them because they weren't kosher.
Oh, wonderful. And didn't you remember there was the flying bombs
Yes,
wasn't
the
a
flying
bomb
bombs,
opposite?
but during the flying bombs, I was in London.
I know, but did you not see a flying bomb, or didn't one land near you?
Yes, one dropped on the library in Finchley Road.
The bottom of
That's
our
we
crowd
heard.
there.
We heard that. But I wasn't scared.
People just got on with life, did they?
That's right.
And there was rationing, was there?
There was rationing and we had to queue up to get something. Granny organised that so that I shouldn't have to look after you myself. So she helped, this lady came and helped us both.
And this is in Southport.
In Southport, yes, and she lived with us. And I remember she got her egg and she held on to it so long she wouldn't eat it because it was so precious. And in the end it was bad.
I thought you were going to say hatch. I thought you were going to say it's hatch.
While we were living in Hayes, I had to come up to London, to Westminster Hospital,
That's right.
to have you. And then Aggie came with Helen to fetch us both home.
Oh, Aggie was already with you.
Yes.
Because people didn't breastfeed in those days, they did bottle
Yes, they
feeding, didn't
did. They did.
Oh, did breastfeed.
That's why I breastfed you for
Oh, you did.
6 months.
Oh, that's right, yes.
And Stephen as well.
Yes, that's right,
Yes,
yes, it did.
they did in those days.
Mm. Yes, it was later.
And then I had such a job to make you take the bottle after 6 months. You wouldn't take the bottle, didn't want it. And I remember one day the doctor came in just to see me.
Yes.
And and he asked whether I managed all right, and I said I can't make her take the bottle. So he said, well, you can make her take the bottle. So I gave him the bottle, I closed the door, went out, and left him with you. And then he said, no, he can't make her take it.
Well, I had to go into hospital, didn't I? To be weaned.
To be weaned, that's right, that's right. I forgot that.
Mm.
I forgot
Clever you
that.
to remember, Mum.
That's right.
Yeah.
That was nice. Southport was
Very
nice.
good memory.
What was it like, Mum? Tell us a bit more about that.
I took up painting. I used to paint when I was quite young.
And did you stop and take it up again, or did you paint all through
That's
your
right.
life?
No, then I stopped for a long time, and then I started again. Oh yes, this was in the paper. This picture,
Ah. Which paper?
the pink one.
The Financial Times?
Yes.
When did you paint that?
I think I painted that while we were living in France.
Okay.
That one, that was the Veil of Health.
Did you paint it?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's very good.
That was done in France. I joined a painting school in France.
It's very good. What was the best holiday you had?
The best holiday, I suppose, in the south of France. Did you come there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that was lovely.
Yeah.
And you had that little garden,
That's right.
and that
And
was
the
nice.
lovely terrace. I had a good time, good life, all my life, really. I've really got away with happiness. Well, I can only say one little sentence. I'm not very good at making speeches, but I would like to say that I'm very fond of every member of the family, all the children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren.